rivalry heats up again tonight. It's the Armstrong Falcons making the short journey over here to take on the Cooper Hawks. Hi, I'm Jay Wilcox. Definitely a different year in 2025. Both these teams have been pretty good. Armstrong's been in the state tournament these last few years, but both graduated some people for sure. You don't have an Emmanuel Carmo and a Tony Colley here on the Cooper roster anymore, and Kevon Johnson and Dawson Franke and guys like that are gone for Armstrong. But so both teams have had some ups and downs this season. Armstrong did get off to a 3-0 start, but then have lost the next three after that to settle in at the 500 mark at 3-3, and they have a very good Alexandria team coming up on their schedule in week 8. Meanwhile, for Cooper at 2-4, consistency is what they've needed a little bit more of. They've been in some games, they've been ahead in some games, but just have had some breakdowns here and there. They're probably a better team than what 2-4 looks like, and both these teams definitely have some players, some athletes that are going to compete well against each other, and you know there's nobody else that they'd rather beat. This one also going to be pretty important potentially for playoff seeding. Both teams are now in Section 6 of 5A. They're still in the same section together, but it's a tougher section now. Buffalo and Spring Lake Park have each defeated both of these teams. So this one, looking on paper like it probably could be for the number 3 seed in the section. Let's talk key players to keep an eye on for tonight. We've picked out a couple of dynamic receivers, starting with Armstrong, the visitor. Pharrell DeLine has had a good season for them. He can be a downfield threat, and he is a guy who can get out and run the sideline very well for them, and they've at times had a pretty solid passing game. Both teams like to mix run and pass, and that's kind of when they're at their best. Meanwhile, for Cooper, they've got a Bemidji State recruit, Sema'J Young. A little bit different than the line. He's not quite as tall, but super fast in short space. He's a type of guy that on any given play could break one, and I know Armstrong is concerned about him and his other cohorts at receiver. They've got some guys that just have the speed to break it really at any time, and same is true to a certain degree for the Falcons. So both these teams, again, looking for a win here tonight, looking for some consistency too as we head into that last game of the regular season. They want to be ready for playoff time, and they also want to beat their Robbinsdale rival, no question about that. It's Armstrong and Cooper coming up. Joe Moline will join me for the call of tonight's game in just a moment here on CCX Sports.
For 90 years, Connection has been at the heart of everything they do at Topline Financial Credit Union. Their team is passionate about connecting with you to help you reach your financial dreams. For some, they're here for your first, like your first checking account, first car, or first home. For others, they're here for those next steps, whether it's remodeling your home, saving for retirement, or starting a small business. Become a Topline member and let them be a part of your big moments. Visit toplinecu.com, because connected, we all do better. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
We are underway. Zakai Nix fielding the opening kickoff inside the 5-yard line for Armstrong, and then he's met at about the 25. Beckham Van Voorst, the Cooper quarterback, also the kicker. Hawks trying to say they dug that football out, but he was ruled stopped. Forward progress right there. So Armstrong will get the opening possession of the night. Joe, it's interesting. Both of these teams' fates have been kind of similar this year. That they both were really strong in the last year, but graduated a lot, and now they're kind of in that middle of the pack. But might make for an interesting game tonight.
Well, I would think based on how the seasons have gone for both teams, this is kind of the Super Bowl of the season right now. I mean, playoffs are obviously huge, but this is a big one.
Gabe Hall, first-year starter at the quarterback slot. He played a lot of D-back last year, handing it off to Ben Francis for Armstrong, and Francis knocked down after a pickup of a couple. Falcons losing last week to defending state 5A champion Elk River. As you get a look at the starters, Armstrong's offense on the left side, and in the orange is the Cooper starting defense. Hall looking to throw. Here's DeLine making the catch, trying to spin away from the defender, and then brought down as Tavorian Thompson came to finish him off. First contact there came from Jordan Dalton, but a nice safe pass play to get Armstrong its first down.
Absolutely high precision play right there. Got a little bit of breathing room off the defensive back Dalton, and nice little hitch route. Easy pickup and nice first down.
From the 37, it's Hall keeping it this time, and Thompson gets to him, and he'll drag him down for a short loss on the play. Dorian Thompson, good defensive player. He played some quarterback for them last year, now playing at tight end as Beckham Van Voorst has kind of solidified that role. But you see Thompson getting it done defensively right there. Nice tackle. Hall slinging it out to DeLine again, and this time closed on quickly by Dalton. They'll get a gainer, but not a whole lot, about a 4-yard pickup. Hall's done a nice job this year. They've had a string of like 3-year starters. You replaced Dawson Franke, and a little bit tough to come in just as a senior getting your first opportunity like this, but I feel like he's mainly done a solid job for them. Looking left this time, little middle screen, and it's Eli Kemple on the catch, breaks a tackle. Kemple still going into Cooper territory. Try to rip the football out and see where they're going to spot him. Cooper says they have the ball. Did they get it out in time, or was he ruled down? Haven't seen any signal officially from the guys in stripes. Cooper is pretty adamant that they've got it. Got a couple players tangled up. It is going to be Cooper football. Hawks were correct in saying they had it. Armstrong, one of their players ended up with it ultimately, Jackson Johnson, but officials rule the other way around. So you got the completion, but then eventually fumble.
Oh, and a great play design by Armstrong, running that middle screen. A little bit of diversion on the outside, throwing the defense off, and then Kemple, when trying to pick up the extra yards, leaves himself a little bit vulnerable here. Let's take a look. Gets up the middle, seems to be securing the football decently there, but you see it kind of getting ripped out there. Good play by 15. Called his name earlier. Thompson, a nice tackle in the backfield. Now he has a forced fumble. Nice strip.
Beckham Van Voorst leading the Cooper offense, but before we even get started, they've got a false start. First penalty of the game goes against Cooper, so they'll be pushed back to a 1st and 15 at the 35-yard line. Van Voorst played a lot last year. He's got a good arm. Been a little inconsistent. They've thrown a few more picks than they'd like, but he is certainly capable of slinging it, and they've got a pretty good back with Amari Davison as well. And speaking of Amari Davison, he brings it straight up the gut there. Jackson Wiley, his fellow number 2, making the stop for Armstrong after a pickup of 5 yards. Get back to the original line of scrimmage to look at the defense for Armstrong on the left, and then the starting unit for Cooper's offense on the right. So we're back to where we were now, but it's 2nd and 10. Clock stopped there and shouldn't have, I think. The official kind of reiterating, keep it going unless you I tell you otherwise. Van Voorst looking out, fires, and the catch is made there. Well, it looked like for a second Armstrong might have a shot at getting in the way of that one, but Yanni Brown will make the catch. Another 5-yard pickup there.
Seems like that ball was maybe a little bit underthrown there. Brown had to come back to the football and gave up his feet in order to secure the catch.
Now from up here, the angle almost looked like Armstrong was going to have a chance at making a play on that ball, but it got out there in just enough time. But I think a smart play by Brown. You got to first and foremost make sure you catch it and not be looking upfield. So a 3rd and 5. Van Voorst slings it out. Here's Sema'J Young, but he's wrapped up, and Kemple throws him down. He'll be about 2 yards short of the first down. Good quick close by Kemple, who probably isn't happy with himself for giving that ball up on the fumble when he's in there on offense.
Yeah, interesting. I think they have a play called there and they had to stick with it, but you really had kind of a 1-on-2 situation out there with your wide receiver doing a great job of coming back to the football, but catching that short of the sticks and having to, in order to break a tackle to make it that first down, just not something he was up to.
Van Voorst on to punt. It's a low snap, and he's going to be ruled down. He had his knees down as he fielded that ball, so it's going to be Armstrong ball at the 35-yard line. That's, of course, the rule in high school and college football. You don't get a chance to get up with that, and he will, had to do what he had to do to try and field it, but ball is dead right there, and a good call by the officials there too to spot that.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate if you're the Hawks. I mean, with the power of foresight now, you wish you would have maybe just gone for it on fourth down if you know that's going to happen. But they were just trying to gain some field position a little bit on fourth and short, and just a low snap caused that issue.
So Falcons get it back at the 35 of Cooper. Gabe Hall rolling to his left. Had some pretty good protection, and now he's going to make a run for it here, and he will pick up, looks like just a couple of yards on the play. Smart decision. It looked like there didn't appear to be anybody terribly open, at least in a spot where he was going to be able to get it to him. That's the one thing too, when you're rolling left like that, there isn't that many places on the field that you're going to be able to comfortably throw the ball. Handoff goes to Francis here. He is popped, picks up very little on that one, maybe a yard or so. Jack Negan, the Armstrong head coach, I was asking him about, the nuts and bolts of coming over here, and he said, well, one thing we do different is we did our meetings at our own school, but then we did bus over here, even though it is, probably a mile or so. But definitely a shorter trip than most away games. Hall, quarterback draw, and he breaks a tackle. Hall, a nice move around Van Voorst, now cuts it up, and he's going to get to the end zone. Touchdown run for Gabe Hall, 32 yards. I thought it was a nice call first and foremost, but then he made a couple of really nice moves to get past that Cooper secondary.
Well, he showed tremendous amount of vision as he ran that ball down the field, had to make some good cuts and decisions as he cut down the field, but one thing that stood out to me too was just how good of blocking he was getting downfield by his receivers, which allowed him to make those decisions and cut the right way. So what a big pickup right there on a third down play.
Noah Miller on to attempt the extra point. Yeah, you love when guys are assuming that the run's going to go a ways. They don't just look and be, oh, he's coming, I guess I better block, because then it's usually too late. Miller's kick is up and through, and with 7:21 to go in the first quarter, it is 7-0 Armstrong, courtesy of this play. Gabe Hall, it was obviously a quarterback draw all the way. Not a great tackle attempt by either of those guys, I would say, and then he gets caught. Van Voorst there right at the end, but he's already into the end zone at that point. Heads up play by Armstrong. The first guy there wasn't happy that Van Voorst tackled him kind of late, and he looked like he was maybe going to grab him and throw him around, but he was smart not to. You don't want to cost yourself yardage on the kickoff just because you're a little exuberant on a play like that.
You see a good student section traveled over here from Armstrong. Of course, in this rivalry game, they're battling the last bits of that sun there, but a lot to cheer for here in this game. And you got to think back to that opening drive where Cooper forced that fumble, because at that time the Falcons were marching as well. So Cooper's going to have to find an answer here quickly, as Armstrong's offense looks pretty dialed in so far in the first two possessions.
I hesitated to bring this up on this night, but obviously there's been a lot of talk about a proposal to go from 2 high schools to 1 in the Robbinsdale School District. And whether that'll happen and when is still to be determined, obviously. But on the return is Eric Larkins for Cooper, as he's knocked out of bounds after crossing the 25-yard line. All these kids right now, I'm sure it would happen well after they would be gone, but it's a possibility. There's, enrollments have declined, and the finances aren't great in District 281 right now. And it'll be a developing story over the next several years, but I know that it's certainly been a topic of conversation around the district. Football at the 26 for Van Voorst and the Cooper offense as they get their second possession. Davison takes the handoff, and he is tracked down from behind there by Everett Daly. give him a couple on the play.
Yeah, the landscape across high school sports certainly changes sometimes in a hurry with, just a lot of it has to do just with the communities and which ones are landlocked and have lots of building and construction going on and new families moving into the district. And, there's explosion happening out in kind of that third ring tier, and that first ring there's not as much building going on and school sizes are kind of going down. So schools have to adjust.
2nd down and 8. Van Voorst looking long for Young into double coverage. It's up for grabs and incomplete. Well defended there by Zaire Shannon Terrell. He wasn't really open, but Young's a good enough receiver that sometimes you give him a shot there, and he actually did come close to getting to this ball.
Well, one thing you can see right away when you just watch from up here, the defensive tactic that the Falcons have right now with the Hawks is they're really trusting their interior to handle the run by themselves, and they seem to have a lot of help on the receivers. So I've seen, double coverage now on a number of the throws, and Cooper's going to have to establish that run game if they want to have some space with the wide receivers.
3rd down and 8 now for Cooper. And Van Voorst in trouble, and now he is dropped. Shrugged off a couple hits, but then Cal Pilon able to finish him for a big sack.
Jackson Wiley, number 2 for Armstrong, comes on a blitz. Nobody picks it up for Cooper. He gets in clean, does not make the tackle, but he disrupts the play enough to get the quarterback out of the pocket, and that leads to the sack. You'll see him right here. He gets in, just can't quite finish it, and then there was some pressure coming from the outside as well.
Yeah, Van Voorst slipped and nearly was down, and then they got to him again to quickly finish him off. So now they're pushed back and they'll have to punt. This time much better snap. Van Voorst's kick is a short one though, and takes a bit of a Cooper bounce, so we'll be into Armstrong territory at about their 48. About a 33-yard punt when you include the bounce, but still excellent field position for Armstrong as they get it back. That first one doesn't go down as a turnover because it was really turned over on downs when that low punt snap had Van Voorst on a knee fielding it, but it kind of almost felt like it. Hall and the Armstrong offense coming out. They were, basically almost all new up front. They had a very veteran O-line last year. Gabe Hall bobbled it a little bit on the snap. Now throwing it out to DeLine. He's got the catch and then blasted out of bounds. This one might have been a running play. It was probably very close to being a lateral if it wasn't. As I think him bobbling that snap kind of threw the timing off on that one. It looked like they weren't really sure what they wanted to do with it.
Well, and credit, this ball was not going to go in this direction, but he had this safety valve of receiver just kind of hanging out here uncovered. Tremendous job by finding him.
2nd and 1. Handoff here going to Francis, and he breaks through and inside the 30 of Cooper.
I got a late flag here on Cooper. It's just a 15-yard penalty coming after the play with like a slap to the head type of situation.
Well blocked up front again, and Francis able to pop through there. Talked about their O-line being new. Their running back situation too. Francis and Zakai Nix, neither of them were guys that were regulars in the backfield last year, but have done well.
Well, right now you can just see Armstrong is winning that initial line of scrimmage. Their offensive line's getting off the ball, initiating the contact, and right now I think they're discussing the severity of this penalty.
Ooh,
he's been ejected. Yeah, so
ejected.
it was like an open slap to the head, but it's almost like a punch because you're not going to really throw a fist. But it was, I saw it live. It was not a smart play at all. And we'll first take a look at the play here. Nice running play up the middle. Again, really well blocked. I mean, he gets a couple yards before the play. Then look at your left side of the screen. If it's going to come into the play, it's actually off the screen a little bit, but you can see the reaction after the play.
First and 10 now on the 15. Hall keeping it. He stumbled coming through, and then he is spun down hard. Good strength to hang on to him there. It was A.J. Wiley who ended up with the stop, but another nice gainer for Hall. He kind of had to fight to pull that ball back from Nix. But he'll get about, looks like about 8. Armstrong on the doorstep again, already leading at 7-0. This time he does hand off, and Nix is going to be brought down just short of the goal line. He'll get a first down, obviously, and see, they might spot him more like the 2, but it's still an easy first down gainer for the Falcons.
On the left side of the offensive line there, Jernigan, and then Max Peters-Herbert doing a great job, and Jackson Johnson pulled from the right side there, kicked out. Easy block for Armstrong and the Falcons, opening up a nice hole.
And we get a flag prior a false start. First penalty going against Armstrong there, as they had a lot going on getting guys into motion, but didn't do it cleanly. So that pushes them back outside the 5 to about the 7. Got Pilon in there as a tight end. Mainly a defensive guy, but he's a tough blocker as well. Here's Hall keeping it, and back down inside the 5. More or less gained back what they lost there.
Cooper back on their heels a little bit, but you got to find some way to see if you can't make a couple of plays, at least make Armstrong have to make a decision on 4th down. You're looking for a victory right here in some small sort of keeping the 6 points off the board. Nix
runs into his own man, but then just steps around and gets into the end zone from 4 yards out, and Armstrong's lead will go to 13-0. He took a little bump there and kept on going as he ran into Caleb Bowman. Just stepped right and found some space.
Well, great job by Armstrong, just continuing to get after it. Again, it starts with the offensive line. They're winning the battle up front right now. And good job by Nix finding the open space.
Miller on for the extra point, and it is up and through. And so with 3:07 to play in the first quarter, now 14-0 Armstrong as they score twice in just over 4 minutes. You see right there, ran into his guy and then stepped over and brought down, but too late as Ferguson got to him. So the Falcons taking advantage.
I got to tell you, Jay, I mean, right now Cooper's in some trouble because first quarter I like to watch just the line of scrimmage and who's winning that battle, and you can look at the offensive line from Armstrong. They're really getting off the ball. There's not enough orange jerseys penetrating and getting off blocks. Conversely, on the other side, I don't see the Hawks getting off the ball the same way offensively off the line of scrimmage. So you just kind of watch those things early and see. That's going to be a good indication of who's got the early pop. And right now, Armstrong's winning the battle up front, and that allows the playmakers to make plays.
Larkins and Young waiting back deep.
Like this kicker right here. I always love to see like a lineman type kicking off.
Miller driving it low, and it bounces past Larkins, but it'll just be a touchback. Those are the kind that are tough to field. But no harm done really for Cooper. They'll get an opportunity, but haven't had great success offensively here to start. There's Tony Patterson, the Hawks head coach. He was feeling good about tonight. He said, we're 2-4, but we feel like we're better than that, and that we've had a good week of practice, and we're obviously up for this game playing against Armstrong, but it has not been the kind of start they were hoping for, and that's where you hope people aren't hanging heads or anything, that they just get more determined to get back in it.
Yep, just gotta make some plays, get off the ball a little bit as an offensive line, and Let your athletes get to work.
Yeah, and they've got some definite skill at the quarterback, running back, receiver spots. Here's Davison. He ran into his own guy a little bit there too. Pilon will drag him down as he crossed the 25 to about the 26. Nice move initially there, and then just ran into another orange guy there. And I didn't love that late grab. That could have been a penalty there, as Wiley looked like he was up around the helmet, almost a face mask there, or trying to twist his head late. Those are the kind that I really don't like. You make a play, but then let it go at that. Here's Davison, a big gap up the middle here. Breaks a tackle, gets a block into Armstrong territory before he's brought down there by Nordbein, but he'll be down inside the 45 to about the 43.
You're going to see Armstrong here blitzed the outside again, and Cooper just had the right play call at the right time. They were hitting a quick dive up the middle. And here you see it's a quick hitter up the middle. Everyone from the offensive line won their battle just long enough, and that created a massive hole up the gut with all that pressure coming from the outside. Huge play by the Hawks. That should be a big momentum builder, and see if they can continue as they cross midfield.
Pickup of 31 right there. Exactly what they needed at this point as we tick down under 2 minutes to go in this first quarter. Cooper down by 14, but still a lot of game to go. Van Voorst looking to throw. Good protection now. It breaks down a little bit, and he's going to throw this one away as he sailed it toward Young. But I like that decision right there. I know one game I saw earlier in the year, there were a couple times where I thought Beckham, he wasn't willing to do that. He was trying too hard to make a play, and maybe it turned into a mistake. Especially when there's situations where you maybe don't see somebody coming and they're able to knock the ball away, things like that.
Averaging just over 100 yards per game through the air with a percentage of 56%, 7 touchdowns and 5 interceptions on the year, so not afraid to throw the ball a little bit in this offense.
Second and 10 after the incompletion. Now going to swing it out. Larkins getting a block. Breaks a tackle. Larkins down near the 20 before he's shoved out of bounds. About the 23-yard line, so pickup of 20.
Larkins has some spring in his step there, making the play to the outside. Love that. Get your athletes the football. And then Yanni Brown, check out the block by 18 downfield. He breaks the first tackle, and then Brown brings his player to the ground. Couple of nice plays from this Cooper Hawks offense. Good response so far.
At the 23 now of Armstrong as Cooper trying to march down and get on the board. And off to Davison here, wrapped up by Kemple. He'll pick up about 2, maybe 3. It looks like they're spotting it around the 20-yard line. Yeah, both these teams, a little bit different offenses for sure, but I feel like both of them want to throw the ball, but also definitely want to run the ball between the tackles. When they've been good in these last few years, they've been able to do both. And I think the same is true for both sides, although, again, not identical in the way they do it necessarily. Second and long, Van Voorst looking to throw, rush coming, and incomplete for Thompson. Out front of him just a bit. Kemple was there defensively. Bring up a third and long now for Cooper. Yeah, I got a hand on it, but it was a little bit too far out front.
Yeah, I feel like his target was open a little bit earlier in that route. Had he thrown it a little bit earlier, it seems like he was running his way into some coverage. But early on, that play was there.
Considering where we're at on the field, I think fair to say it's almost certain a 4-down situation here unless something really goes wrong here. But 3rd and 8. Van Voorst looking left, fires, and went for Thompson again. It was behind him, and Interesting choice there. It looked like kind of predetermined where he was going to go with that one. It wasn't really open. What you mentioned earlier, boy, they really bracketed Young. I mean, he was up on the top of the screen, and there were basically 2 guys assigned to him the whole way. So a 4th down and 8 here for Cooper. I think they're going to use a timeout. They will, with 27 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Cooper trailing at 14-0. They've had by far their most successful drive here, that 31-yard run by Davison and the 20-yard completion to Larkins. For their sake, they'd hate for it to end without points, but Armstrong trying to toughen up right at the right time here. Be interesting to see if Armstrong tries to bring a lot of pressure here. I don't think Ben Borst is probably quite as elusive as Hall, his counterpart on the other side. And it wouldn't surprise me if they try and light him up a little bit, but got 3 receivers out to the right. Here we go, big 4th down play here late in the first quarter for Cooper. Van Borst rolling to his right. Now he's going to run for it. And, well, he said, take that, Jay. I'm a pretty good runner too, and he will pick up that 1st down just inside the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal.
A really smart play call there, right there. They roll to the right, get a lot of help over there out blocking, and then he got him on his right-handed throwing arm where he looked like passing was an option, but running was definitely the right call, and he had some great protection there to get that 1st down.
So the first quarter will come to an end. Armstrong leading at 14-0, but Cooper on the doorstep to begin quarter number 2 here on CCX.
For 90 years, Connection has been at the heart of everything they do at Topline Financial Credit Union. Their team is passionate about connecting with you to help you reach your financial dreams. For some, they're here for your first, like your first checking account, first car, or first home. For others, they're here for those next steps, whether it's remodeling your home, saving for retirement, or starting a small business. Become a Topline member and let them be a part of your big moments. Visit toplinecu.com, because connected, we all do better. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Here we go, second quarter. Davison takes the handoff for Cooper, and he is wrapped up around the 5 or just inside. Again, Armstrong trying to rake that ball free, just like the Hawks were able to do against Kemple earlier. But a nice pickup of about 5 on that 1st and goal from the 9. Boy, exactly what the doctor ordered for Cooper here. A nice drive. Now they want to finish it off. They got the 4th and 8 play and picked up the 1st down with their quarterback run by Ben Borst. Here's this 2nd down and goal play. Van Borst running all the way, and he is in for the touchdown. Van Borst using his legs nicely on this drive, able to finish it off, and the Hawks are on the board.
Yeah, what a nice answer by Cooper throughout this possession, and finished off with their leader at the quarterback position, picking up a huge 1st down right before the end of the quarter, and then this right here just powering through the middle, getting into the end zone for 6.
We did have a personal foul call against Armstrong. That'll be assessed on the kickoff. Van Borst on to attempt the extra point. And that's the one kind of thing that I think the coaches worry about in these rivalry games, is people, emotions and getting hyped up and letting it get to them a little bit. We saw a Cooper ejection already. And then Armstrong commits a penalty here as you get a look at Van Boers going in for the score. Not sure if that was the penalty right there. They kind of chopped down on him a little bit after he was already in the end zone. So the home side gets something to cheer for here early in the second quarter and late in that first by picking up that big first down. And so now they will be kicking off from the Armstrong 45. Boy, do you go onside kick here. This is a spot where I don't, normally you wouldn't probably be thinking that way at all, but from this far up, yeah, maybe, or just pin them real deep.
Yeah, I think you want to maybe take advantage of the field position a little bit. You want to drive these guys back a little bit and give your defense a chance, I think, is the big thing here. Try to build on some of that momentum and see if you can't give your defense a great situation with a lot of turf behind you.
Van Boers kicking, punting, quarterback, and playing safety as well. It's one of the things that I kind of love about high school football. I mean, you see it in college a little bit, but not to this degree. Ooh, I think Cooper was offside there. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the one thing I didn't agree with there. He tried to just pound it through the end zone, and I thought there was a good opportunity to kind of put a ball in a spot. So rather than an onside kick, maybe kind of put something down in the corner and get after it that way. But
I stand corrected. Cooper was not officially offside, although I think they actually were. But it'll be Armstrong football at the 20 now. It's their turn to have to try and answer as Cooper put together that successful drive to pull back within 7. Falcons have mostly been solid offensively here in this first quarter, and now we'll see what they do in the second. Ooh, high snap. Hall giving it to Francis, and he is wrapped up and dropped immediately there as Hayden Anderson spinning him down. It'll be a loss on the play. Boy, a big loss. Pretty much unblocked here, it looked like. And he had enough strength to hang on and grabbed him around the waist and got him to the turf. Loss of 5. Hall rolling left. He's chased and now in trouble, and down he will go. Back-to-back big plays defensively. Dadra Carmel making the stop there for Cooper for a loss.
There was great penetration up the middle. Then there was a nice little chip back block that protected the quarterback for a moment. Thought maybe he was going to get loose, but then Carmel comes and closes the space. You'll see some early penetration here right up the gut. He's able to get away from that one, but not the second one. Carmel does a great job bringing him to the turf.
Now it's Armstrong going backward. 3rd and 23, and they're at their own 7. Hall dumping it off over the middle. Here's Kemple. Got a little space. Kemple trying to break a tackle. He'll be brought down out over the 20 to about the 22. So good play to get some yardage back, but they're still going to have to punt. That was similar to the one that they had earlier that Kemple ended up fumbling as a host of Cooper guys wrapped him up and then one ripped it out. So Cooper turning the momentum in this game. They get a quick stop after they scored the touchdown, and now going to get the ball back. Daly is the punter here for Armstrong. Ooh, just got that one out of there. Young thought about trying to field it on that bounce, but instead it'll go out of bounds right near the 35-yard line. Probably a smart decision not to try and field that. You just never know where the ball's going to bounce. So Cooper back to within 14-7. They get a quick stop. They have it at their 35, and they'll try and keep the momentum they built on that last offensive drive.
Yeah, something's working for Cooper right now. Just a great response from being down by a couple of touchdowns, just coming out and getting it done. I love the fact that the defense really got aggressive there after watching their offense put some points on the board. The defense just built off that momentum. What a great back-to-back possessions, both offensively and defensively.
Van Voorst handing it off. There's plenty of space to run for Davison. Breaks a tackle. Has a blocker as well. Davison steps out of bounds at the 30-yard line. 35-yard run for the Hawks. Boy, have they found something offensively here after a little bit of a slow start.
Yeah, the one thing is that they seem to be getting away from the middle quickly, and they're just kind of running a quicker play. So you'll see right here, they get up the gut and get to that second level, and then you see the speed and athleticism out in the open field. Love to see it.
Boy, Davison nearing 100 yards already, and we're not even halfway through the second quarter. A couple big runs will certainly pad that total. Gonna go right back to Davison here, and not nearly as much space this time as he'll pick up a couple. So a 2nd and 8 coming up here for Cooper as they try and bounce back and tie this one up, or maybe even go ahead. We were talking about it with the coaches a little bit before. Boy, for week 7, you couldn't ask for better weather. A little bit of a breeze and cooling down a little bit, but I mean, compared to some nights that we've seen in October football, this is about as good as it gets. Van Voorst firing, and it's caught. Pilon making the tackle there as Brown on the grab for Cooper. We'll leave him a couple yards short of the first down. Nice hands on that catch, and then
the thing I've seen the biggest change right now is Cooper just seems to be moving with some pace. A lot of their plays are just happening quick. It seems to be getting the Falcons back on their heels a little bit.
3rd down and 2. Davison getting the handoff here, and he is mad. He will not get that first down. I don't think he really gained anything there. So 4th down coming up, but again, not exactly a tough decision to go for it in this spot.
Everett Daly and a couple other Falcons right there in the middle just closed up that gap in a hurry as the Hawks tried to get up the gut for the first down pickup. Let's see if they put the ball back in their quarterback's hands here on a big 4th down play.
Another key play. Van Voorst got it done last time. That was a much longer 4th down that time too. It was about 4th and 8. This is just 4th and a couple, but now we're gonna have a timeout taken. This will be taken by Armstrong as maybe seeing something formation-wise or that they didn't expect, or just want to make sure. Boy, I always feel like you're not really going to regret taking a timeout, but you might really regret not if you see something that isn't going to be right for, whether you're offensively or defensively, and the other team scores, you'd be like, oh, what? It wasn't that important to hang on to that timeout. Of course, we've got the short week heading into week 8 as those last games on Wednesday, as always, and both these teams with interesting opponents. As Cooper will be traveling to Sartell. It's not a matchup you see very often, I don't think, and for Armstrong, it's Alexandria that they have. So outside of their sub-districts, Armstrong had to be saying, gee, thanks. We get Elk River and Alexandria in the week 6 and week 8, the two teams that met in the prep poll last year.
Sure, it's a tough one, yeah.
So here we go with this 4th down and 2, and it is Van Voorst calling his own number, and he will have enough for the first down. Well blocked by Cooper. They didn't, nothing terribly fancy about that. They just said, we got to get this first down here, and that's exactly what happens.
No, good play design. If you have a running quarterback, what it does is allow you to get one extra blocker rather than hand the ball off to somebody. They have a running back leading the way there, and you get that extra blocker. You have a good, solid running quarterback. Smart play.
First down from the 19. Hand off here, and DeLon making the stop on Davison, but again, pretty well blocked, as they will pick up 5 or so. I call it a 4-yard gain up on the board. So 2nd and 6 for Cooper. Their O-line has really started to open some holes too, and then, like you said, Davison hitting them quick too. Oh, Davison is blasted. He lost the ball. Armstrong is convinced they've got it, and it sure looks like they might. They're at the bottom of the pile, and it is indeed Armstrong football. Recovery made there by Welters, I believe, for the Falcons, and that one was instant collision in the backfield as Davison gets the handoff, and ouch. Welters was right there, and it looks like he's going to get both the forced fumble and the fumble recovery for Armstrong, and they are able to put a halt to what was another promising Cooper drive. Boy, especially in these high school games with 12-minute quarters, turnovers can make such a difference.
Absolutely, yep.
So Armstrong gets it back. They certainly don't have the momentum right now. They'll go with a little pop pass. Ooh, and a nice tackle in the open field there by Dalton as Lucas Wadke on the handle there for the Falcons. Picked up 3. It looked like at first that one might have a chance to go somewhere, but just a nice job setting the edge by Dalton. Second and 7. Here's Francis. Breaks through the Hawks and into the secondary. Down the sideline he goes, and looks like he stayed in bounds and brought down at the 5-yard line. Doesn't appear to be any flags. About a 70-yard run there for Ben Francis. I thought they were about to push him out of bounds, but he was able to stay in. Now the officials catching up. Armstrong wanted to go quick. The officials weren't ready. First and goal now from the 5, and it's Hall keeping it. And not a whole lot there. The second goal for Armstrong. Boy, the momentum kind of jumping around.
Yeah,
here,
the big play abilities we're seeing from both teams, and they just, again, well-blocked play to the outside and then just extending that play with a one little cut right there.
Nix takes a handoff, and I think he's short. He ended up kind of skidding into the end zone, but it looks like he's going to be marked down at the 1. Kind of had the feeling by formation that they were just going to see if they can overpower him and knock him back enough to get into the end zone. And not going to happen here as Nix is stopped. Well done defensively for Cooper by P.J. Jackson, Parrish Jackson. So 4th and goal now for Armstrong. Boy, it kind of looked like it was almost like going to be a formality that they'd punch it in, but not the case. Try to draw Cooper off and then looking to play call here to the sideline. Waiting a while here. I have a feeling we might be seeing a timeout again here.
They're just gonna run it down here and call a timeout and call their best play.
The idea was to try and fool Cooper into jumping there.
Well, I think this is an opportunity here, as coaches always have that kind of that 2-point conversion play in your back pocket, and this is right where that ball is located on the 3-yard line. So you're likely going to have one of those plays that are reserved in your back pocket, but then you have a whole quarter and a half of information that you've seen what's worked up front. So kind of expect some kind of option with the quarterback. It seems like he likes to, do the run, quarterback run option with the running back, and we'll see if that's going to go off tackle to the right side here.
Looks like they have their kicker on. They're going to go field goal here. I'm surprised. Noah Miller will come on. Kemple is the holder, so field goal try coming up for Armstrong. I fully admit this is not what I was expecting to see. Good snap and hold, and the kick is good.
Yeah,
so they do take the 3.
It makes sense to get the 2-score lead back intact, but I mean, it just, the way that the scoring is kind of taken off here in this quarter, I thought maybe that they would just want to keep on putting some big points on the board, but yeah, I'll take the 2-score lead and be up 17-7.
It is a valuable weapon to have a kicking game that you feel can do this for you. In different game situations where it might come down to that. But at the same time, I think you have to feel a little bit like, boy, we should have had a touchdown there if you're Armstrong. But gives confidence to your kicker, too, that no hesitation, coach said, go out there and get it done, and he did exactly that. Last time Miller bounced the previous time he bounced one on the ground, and then see what they do with this one. A little bit of a short kick off the ankles there, but picked up. Young hit hard as he seemed like he didn't have the tightest grip on that ball briefly there, but he was able to secure it, and he'll be brought down at the 30. Didn't panic when that ball hit his lower legs there, which I know when you know other people are bearing down on you, sometimes it's a little hard to find the handle there, but he didn't seem to have any trouble with that part. But I like the way Armstrong's kicking, though. They know they have dangerous return men. Don't make it easy for them to just go upfield.
Well, really interesting drive coming here from Cooper. You want to try to be aggressive, but you also do not want to give the ball back on a 3-and-out as well with not much clock used.
And Vorst will hand it off to Davison. Another big gap. He breaks through a tackle. Down the sideline he goes. This is very reminiscent of the way the last drive started.
Well, they certainly found something right now in the Cooper offense, and what it is they're starting plays up the gut. They're getting that initial good blocking up front, and the running back is doing a great job of pushing it to the outside. So everything's kind of jammed up in the middle, kick it to the outside, and look at the elusiveness and the foot speed to get to the edge.
Boy, just a great little shoulder fake. Made a tackler miss at that second level, and then got to the outside. Armstrong recovered to get him out of bounds, but it was another 37-yard run there. Back to Davison. Ooh, and he pays the price at the end of that one as cleaning it up was Wiley. Kind of interesting, the last time he had a long run too, they gave it right back to him. You're thinking he might be a little tired after that run, but it'll be 2nd down and 8 here for Cooper. We're down to 2:40 to go in the first half. Armstrong started out on fire, leading 14-0. And now at 17-7 after Cooper had a promising drive ended. And the Falcons able to take advantage and get a field goal out of it after the fumble recovery. Little option, the ball's on the turf, and Davison just has to pounce on it. The timing was disrupted by the defender getting through there, and Van Voorst's pitch didn't quite connect with Davison. They'll lose about 6. A
little self-inflicted wound right there from Cooper, but it might have, like you said, that penetration might have kind of forced that the timing of that pitch a little bit earlier than what the running back was expecting.
I feel like teams, if you don't run the option all the time, that is much harder than what people realize.
Yeah.
There's some teams where that's such a staple of their offense that they're kind of used to it and they're really got that great pitch relationship and everything, but I feel like teams that just kind of pull it out now and then, a lot of times you see exactly what we just saw. Timeout taken here by the Hawks. Got a third and about 16 coming up with a 1:32 to go in this first half. Cooper's got to be happy with the way they bounced back, but it really looked like they were going to tie it up, and now instead they give up, a field goal the other way, and now in danger of having this drive end early too. So, but that's football, back and forth. It's going to be momentum turns, especially when a turnover is involved. Cooper, an interesting play call to come here. Again, I think you're probably in 4-down territory, especially if you're able to gain, a decent amount on this first play. Here we go, 3rd and 16. Van Voorst, straight drop. Now the rush comes in. He gives the ball up. It's recovered by Cooper. Looks like it is a fumble. It was not a forward pass. And recovered by the lineman DeMarco Hughes. But the protection broke down for Van Voorst.
Yeah, we'll see where this pressure comes from. It's doesn't come really fast though. I mean, I would say he was protected long enough to get rid of that football, but the fact that he was looking so far down the field, he probably hung onto that ball just a second longer than his offensive line was able to allow him to.
Kemple making the first hit there for Armstrong, and I've said this in a previous game too. Thankfully in high school that's not a penalty. I suspect in NFL that might have been a low hit on the quarterback, and you're just tackling somebody.
Yeah, the instant replay has really not done justice to how fast the game is when those type of hits happen.
You see, he actually got sandwiched to one high, one low there a little bit. And he was starting to try and throw. I thought there was a possibility it would be incomplete, but I think it was definitely the right call as a fumble. Those are the kind you hope Van Voorst is all right on too, because he's got to immediately go ahead and punt. DeLine waiting back deep and around the 10-yard line. Good snap. Van Voorst, plenty of time, and gets away a good kick. The line's going to let it go, and it'll get to the end zone. Cooper almost in a position. Larkin's trying to circle around and see if he couldn't cut that ball off, but instead it'll be Armstrong ball at the 20. Only a minute 4 to go. You're up 10. I don't think they'll get too crazy gambling here at this field position and time. And you have had some success running the ball. Obviously, Francis, a 70-yard run not that long ago. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see a handoff to kind of feel out how this drive might start. And no timeouts for Armstrong and only one for Cooper. So it is indeed Francis. He fumbles. Looks like Cooper's going to have it. And the Hawks force a turnover in a bad spot for Armstrong. Recovery made there by Anderson for Cooper.
Well, I tell you what, the momentum changes in this game have been incredible, and here we have another one. Great opportunity for the Hawks.
They'll get the ball at the 19-yard line. Just 59 seconds to go, but boy, exactly what Armstrong didn't want here. Anderson gets popped and tried to spin away, and all you can say is ball security was job one there, and it didn't happen. We've had so much success running it with Davison, but the time is a little bit of a factor here. Although they should have time to get, a handful of plays off if they wish to. And they're going to throw it with Larkins. Juggle, let's see, did he have it? No, incomplete.
The right play call and the right play execution was there all the way till the very last thing, and that was just kind of securing that football in the back of the end zone. And
now these Armstrong guys know the Cooper guys pretty well, but I don't know. Oh, we do have a flag down on the play anyway, so maybe this wouldn't have counted. I was going to say, I don't know if they knew Larkins threw left-handed. That might be one thing that even a neighborhood rival doesn't know, because I didn't. Looks like this one would not have counted anyway, which not much consolation, but maybe a little bit for the receiver that couldn't haul it in. Haven't seen an actual signal, though, what the call is. The discussion, I think, must be whether this is a spot foul or... I apologize, I did not see the signal. They obviously made one, but...
Yeah, just assume it was a holding just based on the fact that it's a 10-yard penalty.
Low snap. Van Voorst in trouble, and Kemple runs him over. Another loss for Cooper.
It was a low snap, but I also don't know if he was expecting it when it came. It seemed like he was almost caught him a little off guard. No, just low. Low with some velocity and just didn't adjust.
And he was almost down on a knee like he was as a punter earlier, and he maybe almost wished he had. Kemple just ran through him right there. That's kind of a linebacker's dream to see the quarterback just getting back up and really in a vulnerable spot. Van Voorst, lucky he held on to the ball, or did well to hang on to the ball, because he really got rocked. So Armstrong trying to bail out their back fences after he turned it over here. Cooper's going backward. That was the last time out for Cooper as well. Third down on the board, but second down on the sideline after that first down penalty. I think 27 yards to go. Van Voorst looking to throw, now steps up, and he will take off. Wiley wrapping him up at about the 27. Cooper trying to unpile in a hurry here. Under 20 seconds to go, third down and long. Pilon coming, and Van Voorst has to take off again, but he'll still be obviously way short of the first down, and that looks like it's going to do it for the half. Yep, not going to be able to get this play off, so we will come to halftime. And Armstrong, a big first quarter. Cooper bounced back in the second, but the Falcons still with the lead. Our halftime score is Armstrong 17 and Cooper 7. We will have first half highlights and stats, and then our second half of football in this Robbinsdale district rivalry game.
For 90 years, Connection has been at the heart of everything they do at Topline Financial Credit Union. Their team is passionate about connecting with you to help you reach your financial dreams. For some, they're here for your first, like your first checking account, first car, or first home. For others, they're here for those next steps, whether it's remodeling your home, saving for retirement, or starting a small business. Become a Topline member and let them be a part of your big moments. Visit toplinecu.com, because connected, we all do better. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Cooper marching band on the field on a beautiful night for football. Week 7 of the high school football season, and it's an all-district 281 matchup tonight. Armstrong leading Cooper by a score of 17-7 as we check out some of the highlights from the first half of play. Starting with a little toss here, and Kemple, this one was a good play for Armstrong to start, but then he gets held up by too many guys and the ball, Thompson rips the ball out and leads to an early turnover, but then Armstrong with Hall running the quarterback draw here. Nice move, and he will reach the end zone. Tackled right as he got there, but he's already in, and Armstrong leading it 7-0, and then it is Nix with a 4-yard run. And at this point, it almost had a little bit of a feel that Armstrong might blow it open, but Cooper said not so fast. Davison, one of 3 very long runs he had in this first half. Got them started, and then they finish with Van Voorst running it in from 4 yards out, and Cooper pulling to within 14-7 very early in the second. But then they gave it up as Davison hit it the instant he got the football. Fumble forced and recovered by Welters for Armstrong. And ultimately they went down to the 3-yard line. Surprised us a little bit by taking the field goal. Noah Miller banging that one through. It's a little over 3 minutes to go in the half, so it makes it that 17-7 halftime lead. The rushing yards is kind of interesting because it's mainly been a few big plays. Armstrong 70 yards on one run, and Cooper Davison has 3 different runs of over 30, kind of skewing those totals a little bit. You see overall Cooper a few more first downs, and penalties not a ton, but enough that it made a little bit of a difference. And you see a little bit of turnover issues in that first half as well. We will come back with more here of halftime, and then our second half of football as Armstrong trying to build on a 17-7 lead. Cooper trying to come back here in half number 2.
Thank you to our supporting sponsor, Scott's Lawn Care, serving homes and businesses of their neighbors in the Twin Cities West Metro area. Scott's Lawn Care team offers services ranging from weekly maintenance to complete redesign. Also, Scott's Lawn Care offers snow plowing services for the smallest residential lots to large commercial projects as well. Thank you, Scott's Lawn Care, for being a supporting sponsor of CCX Media.
Welcome back here to Cooper High School, Barbara A. Lehman Stadium, along with Joe Molina. I'm Jay Wilcox. Armstrong leading Cooper by a score of 17-7. We had some definite momentum shifts back and forth a little bit in that first half, and it felt like a long halftime here. I'll be interested to see who kind of gets the early jump. It'll be Cooper getting the football first.
Well, and the interesting thing about the momentum is it's the completing the entire drive too now, because we've seen a number of plays or drives that stalled out because of a mistake, and boy, the score could really be different, both ways right now. It could be a bigger deficit and it could be a closer game.
This one takes a nice big hop at about the 15-yard line, and some room to run there as Larkins breaking it out over the 40 to about the 42-yard line. A couple of earlier kicks have been a little bit tough to field, and sometimes the ball does bounce nicely up to you, and Larkins didn't waste any time heading upfield. Got some good blocking as well.
Yeah, nice little plunge up the gut there. Good blocking. I mean, doesn't even get touched till he's about 15, 20 yards into his return. So nice field position to start the half for the Hawks.
I like the way he both got upfield but also was patient to kind of look where the blocks were forming for him too. They'll say the 43-yard line, the official spot here. First down and 10 for Cooper. Van Voorst throwing and incomplete for Young, and they wanted a little quick screen there, it looked like, and they weren't quite on the same page. That ball well over his head.
I like the idea, though. I mean, again, it's the idea of getting your athlete out in some space, and he was going to get his left tackle was on his way out there to help out. That ball just got rushed a little bit out of the quarterback's hands.
Second down and 10. Davison unofficially rushing for 139 yards in that first half. Again, 3 runs of more than 30 yards will certainly help. A little bit of a high snap here. Davison takes the handoff again. And a good run. It looked like it was even going to be more, but he was wrapped up there by Wiley after picking up about 5.
Inconsistency in the snapping game right now is just giving Van Horst just enough issues back there. That one high, but he reacted well. But again, it just could potentially throw the timing of that handoff off a little bit if he's not careful.
Yeah, and we saw that with the other side too. With a couple times Hall had to reach for balls, and then just that little timing issue can really disrupt things. Third down coming for Cooper. Van Voorst coming under center this time. Play action, he's in trouble, bounces off one hit, and then got the ball away. It looks like it'll be called an incomplete pass. It doesn't appear that they're spotting him down where he was tackled, but it will be incomplete.
Well, that's a great play, though, to get rid of that football. That saved him 10 yards. One thing I'll tell you, though, is that he's got to mix up his cadence. They're timing out their blitzes a little bit too easily. They had a safety come all the way up there and really time it out well. So he's going to have to change up his cadence a little bit. It looks like the blitzers are catching on to his cadence.
Boy, Welters almost had the sack there. He was on the way down but got rid of it. Van Voorst punting it away. DeLine telling everyone get away from it here. And it will be down at about the 16-yard line. So Armstrong has not been able to field any of these punts. I mean, again, it's smart not to try to gamble too much, but they're not really judging the depth quite as well as maybe they'd like. And you'd like to at least be able to make a fair catch on a ball like that instead of giving up that extra 10 yards on the bounce. So Gabe Hall and the Armstrong offense out for their first possession of the second half after they get the quick stop on Cooper. They are pinned fairly deep, though, at their 16. Hall swings it out, complete, but not a lot of room to do anything there. It was actually pretty tight coverage considering what kind of pass play it wound up being, as he was able to swing it out there to Mason Anderson, his first catch of the night.
Armstrong going to continue to go with pace here to start the second half.
Handoff going to Francis, and he makes a cut and then brought down. Francis had a fumble that could have been a killer late in that first half, but his defense able to bail him out there. Yeah, first down here to the 27-yard line here for Armstrong. They would love to put together a nice drive here to begin this third quarter and see if they can't stretch that lead out, or at the very least flip the field a little bit. Here's Hall keeping it. Hall getting to the edge, and he is finally shoved out of bounds after he crossed the 45, so that'll be a pickup of about 20 more. Hasn't run the ball a ton. Well, actually it is his 8th carry, but has had some effective ones. And touchdown run, obviously, to start the scoring was one.
And they benefit a little bit from not having to block the interior lineman there, and he's reading that play, and he was slick enough to get away from the defensive tackle. And anytime you don't have to block somebody and you can just kind of deke him out on your own, that allows another person to get blocked.
Nix takes the handoff here, and he has a burst up the middle, and it looks like he'll have enough for a first down. He gets about 11 more. Armstrong O-line had stretches where they were kind of controlling things in that first half, and they get the drive started in good fashion here as they're already to the Cooper 42-yard line, 1st and 10. They started at their 16.
And Cooper's got a lot of girth up the middle up there, but they're getting a little tired with this no-huddle offense.
Back to Nix. Took a hard hit, but he will pick up another nice gainer down to about the 36. And a Cooper player slow to get up here. Looks like Wiley. Yeah, he's not going to get up. Happy to say we haven't seen much of this tonight, at least so far.
Yeah, there was good blocking up the middle there, and Wiley looked like he was on the losing end there of a nice offensive line burst up the middle. But again, going back to certain stretches we saw in that first quarter where the offensive line for the Falcons just looks like they're a little bit too much for the Cooper front. Cooper figured something out in the second quarter. They got more aggressive with their blitz packages and got into the gaps, but right now Cooper's offensive line, you can see.
Oh, a little friendly fire there. He and Thompson collided. And I think they're probably worried about, head-to-head contact there. And definitely was his own teammate that they just plain ran into each other when trying to converge on the running back. I'm sure some concussion-type tests or questions going on right now. He's going to make his way to the sideline, but not walking real confidently there, it looks. Let's hope he's going to be okay here. I would say right now, probably not going to see him come back right away at least, or maybe at all tonight.
No, not looking promising right there.
So it'll be a 2nd down and 5. Maybe it helps to slow the momentum of Armstrong a little bit there, kind of an injury timeout. Hand off to Francis here. Francis keeps the legs driving, and he'll have the 1st down with ease inside the 30.
Francis has a nice little running style where he seems to kind of get right up in behind the blockers, and he almost get lost from our vision from up here.
This time Hall keeps it. Oh, and he is drilled. Hard contact there as he's brought down by Antonio Ferguson. Short loss on the play there. Hall throwing down the left sideline for Kemple, and it is incomplete. I don't think he quite saw the ball coming there. So bring up a 3rd down and long for Armstrong. They were kind of marching down the field to start this drive, but now facing a little bit of adversity after the loss and then incompletion. Cooper definitely needs a stop on this drive, down by 10. Hall rolling, throwing, and it's juggled and dropped by DeLine. He was looking where he was going to go and did not hang on. It was a pretty good throw.
Yeah, good throw, good play call. Get him rolling to his right, has his receiver coming back to the football, but his receiver knew he was going to be short of the sticks. So he was getting ready to make that move to the outside and just did not secure the grab.
Looks like they are going to go for it. Kind of too close in to punt and too long for a field goal. So even with it being a 4th and 12, Armstrong lining up to go for it. They moved Francis into the slot. Now Hall's going to throw deep downfield for Kemple, and he's got it. Touchdown Falcons. They didn't mind that 4th and long as they sprung Kemple open, and Hall put it right on him.
Well, nice little skinny post here right up the middle, and it was Kemple against the safety, and he threw that ball right into a spot where he could go up there and get it, and that safety just did not have the size advantage and needed to make a play on the football and just couldn't quite close. And Kemple just, I mean, he really went up there and got that football as well, too.
They used him in the screen game earlier, this time going downfield as a receiver, and Miller's kick is good. And so with 7:25 to go in the third, now 24-7, Hall to Kemple. A good job fighting through the contact there at the end, and the Falcons strike here in the third.
Strong opening statement to start the second half for the Falcons defensively, coming out there, getting their ball back to their offense pretty quickly, and then a drive ending with some points on the board and eating up some clock as well, and they have themselves in a pretty good situation here now, 24-7.
Cooper needing to get something going, and they wouldn't mind a kick return to get that started. Larkins had a pretty good one last time around, and Young is obviously very dangerous. Boy, they've done a nice job on Young tonight. We really haven't called his name much. I don't know if we got him with the key player jinx, or I think it's more so just that Armstrong is very conscious of how good of a player he is too, and they've thrown a lot of extra coverage his way. Miller will drill it on the ground, takes a nice big hop again, and look who this is, Davison on the return. Ooh, paid the price at the end there, but he's all the way out to about the 44-yard line. You got your two speedy receivers back deep, and then in the next wave, it's your outstanding running back. And Davison got a good hop there. If you're Cooper, you don't want to, rush things, but you kind of realize that pretty much every drive is going to have to be a good one if they're going to have time to come back.
Yeah, we saw that they have the big play ability. Let's see if they can sustain and finish on these drives. That's going to be the question. We know they can make plays, so they're not out of this game by any means, but it's just trying to limit the mistakes.
And Borst will hand it off to Davison. Pilon riding him down from behind after a gain of about 4. It's interesting when you look at, how well Davison's run the ball, that they only have 7 points. Like you talked about, a few drives here and there, if they had been able to finish them, it would look a lot different. So the yardage isn't bad, but the 7 points is not what they were hoping for overall. Running up against the play clock here and just get it off. Handoff is to Davison, and a nice gap. Again, he takes a hard hit, but he's got the first down at the 45 of Armstrong. Interesting how many just open holes there have been to run through for both teams' running backs.
Yeah, great job done by the offensive line for the Hawks on that one. A lot of these players in the offensive line play both ways.
And Borst throwing behind Young and low.
That's one of the unique things about Cooper, from what I can see, from being a size school that they are and the class that they're in, to have this many players playing on both sides of the football. But that just, it's a numbers thing, but also who your best athletes are.
I'm old enough that it wasn't terribly unusual for most teams to be playing a lot of guys both ways, so it doesn't faze me that much to see that. But no, you're right. It's something that you kind of have to struggle and weigh as a coach. Here's Davison taking the handoff. Here he goes again. Elon knocks him down hard, but not until he had gained about 11 more. At the inside the 35, 1st and 10 here for Cooper, as they are methodically putting together a nice march after Armstrong scored to stretch the lead to 17. Right back to Davison. This time a nice open field stop. He is wrapped up. And no gain on that one.
Well, Wiley just does a great job bursting through the seams there, securing that tackle. Just a great play by the Falcons. Throw that drive off, and all of a sudden now, after all that momentum built up by the Hawks, now you go 2nd down and 11. That's all it takes sometimes as a defense, make that one big play.
Boy, and most times tonight, Davison, even when it's, one-on-one, he's been able to kind of make that first guy miss, just a little shoulder fake or whatever, but definitely not that time. Cooper using a timeout here. Again, I think kind of sensing that sort of a must-score type drive. I mean, with the score where it's at.
Well, and I think too, Coach, you get in a rhythm. You're making these play calls, and you go first down. Okay, we're moving the sticks, and then you go, boom, we lost a yard. You didn't. All of a sudden, you're like, okay, shoot, we had some momentum here. Now I got to figure out what the next couple play calls look like here.
As well as they've been able to run it with Davison, I think Armstrong has to feel really good about the defensive job they've done against the pass tonight. Cooper just really hasn't gotten much going through the air.
Well, I think Van Voorst has one of those, he's got a very strong arm. His accuracy is a little bit, limited, but I don't think he has the confidence quite to sit back and allow a receiver to get open. So a lot of his success is kind of getting rid of the ball quickly and kind of design plays, short yardage, let the players make the plays. That seems to be the kind of passing that he's most confident with.
Yeah, and they have had some trouble protecting too, and I think that's probably contributed to that a little bit. Here's the 2nd down and long. Van Voorst, this time good time, and now it breaks down. He's rolling right and will take off. Dances out of bounds. And he will pick up about 4, but obviously well short of the first down. And he's, again, proven me wrong. A better runner than what I said something earlier about maybe not as elusive as Hall, but he's a good runner. And it reminds me back to where he had a nice, gritty touchdown run in the section final against Armstrong last year. Regular season, Armstrong blew Cooper out. Section final was 28-20, and it was a heck of a game. Cooper was right there with him. Third and about 7 now for the Hawks. Van Voorst throwing, and it's complete for the touchdown. We said Young had been quiet, not anymore, as Van Voorst able to find him for the touchdown.
Well, it's the kind of throw that I kind of was just mentioning, that it's not something that he excels at, or at least that's what he showed us throughout the game. It's some of those short yardage throws were kind of maybe where he was stronger, but there he just kind of steps back and throws a nice dart up the middle on another post. I mean, it's just almost like taking what Armstrong ran against them and giving it right back to him.
Much needed points there for Cooper. Van Voorst will attempt the extra point here as well. And he drills it through. So 4:37 to go here in the third. Now 24-14.
That's just a well-thrown football. I mean, there's not many more places you could put that football. The coverage was actually there. I mean, Braden Treadway was on the coverage there for Armstrong. I don't know if he can play that too much better, except for actually getting his hand on the football, but he was definitely, that ball got dropped into a bucket.
Young continuing to work. As we said, there have been some throws that didn't find him. They just hadn't connected much, but when it counted right there, both guys, Van Voorst and Young, coming through with big plays. And as I talked about, there is still time for sure, but that drive was kind of a must score, and they did exactly that.
Yeah, they answered the bell a couple times. Down 14-0 to get that touchdown when they got it at that point in the game where it looked like, boy, is this going to be a trouble? Now to score right now with just all kinds of football left here in the game. To only be down 10 right now, they're in a pretty good spot, but defensively now they got to, again, see what kind of response they can get from the defense, try to ride some of the momentum.
It's kind of interesting as we flip back to that decision to take the field goal. Armstrong glad they're ahead 10 now instead of just 7. However, on the other hand, you'd say, well, we could have even maybe had 4 more, but hard to say no, though, when they took the 3 and stretched that lead. Van Voorst this time kicking it deep. DeLine drifting back to the 3. And he had a little momentum going. Nice tackle to bring him down at about the 27. I thought that one might really break open. So now Armstrong's turn to see if they can keep their offense. I mean, the last drive had a lot of things to like about it, including obviously the touchdown pass from Hall to Kemple.
It'll be interesting how Armstrong works with tempo here. They like to go no huddle. They like to keep the pace up, but at the same time, your defense just gave up a touchdown. You kind of want to make sure they're off the field for a little bit here. So we'll see how they treat these first few plays.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they continue to come to the line right away, but then don't necessarily snap it. Here's Nix making a cut, and Nix into the secondary. He fumbles, and the Hawks are going to get the recovery. Oh, it turned into a great play defensively after it was a great play offensively to start. And Ferguson with a huge recovery for Cooper.
Well, that's 2 fumbles now where the Falcons had a huge play ending in a fumble. I mean, a lot of times, sometimes you fumble behind your line of scrimmage. It's a great defensive play, but you have what was a great offensive play capped by a great defensive play, all in the same play. That's why you don't give up on plays.
Great cut right here by Nix, but then he gets hit from both sides and he doesn't see the trail guy coming. But that's why you got to be high and tight at all times there. And another fumble forced, and Ferguson pounced on it for Cooper.
It looked like it was Ray Highland who punched that ball out, number 3. Good recovery, as you see from Ferguson, but Highland, I think, gets the forced fumble on that one. Nice play by him.
Hand off to Davison. And
a
little
ball's
room
loose.
to run, but he fumbles, and let's see, it looks like Armstrong might have gotten it right back. And yes, indeed. Up out of the pack with it for the Falcons is Dylan Gillis. Wow, back-to-back turnovers. So 2 what appear to be promising starts to runs there, especially the first one, and then this turns into a fumble getting it right back. And the guys who got the ball, they feel good, but you know who else feels good is the running back Nix, who gave it up initially. And the handoff this time going to Wiley. Jackson Wiley in there as a running back. So both of Armstrong's key guys have had fumbles, and now they're saying, we're going to put Jackson Wiley in there and let him handle it a little bit. I know he did play some as a backup last year in the offensive backfield. Oh, and he gets hit, but he shrugged off that first tackle and gets back to the line, or just beyond it. Wow, I thought he was going to go down there as he was hit instantly. I don't know how he withstood that one.
Bell Natson in the backfield there. He's been a menace in the backfield, and he's done a good job of getting through a number of times. Just doesn't quite complete the tackle, but really disrupts that play.
3rd and 7 coming up here for Armstrong as we tick down toward 3 minutes to go. An interesting one is developing here as Cooper pulled within 10 after that touchdown strike to Young. Hall faking the handoff, rolls to his left, and now fired toward Kemple, but it's incomplete. And Armstrong, well, you'd think being forced into a punt here, but maybe not. They're at the 45 of Cooper. I think years ago this would have been a no-doubt punt, but it's kind of trickled down from the pro level that more people are going for it in these spots. Got the offense out there. Looks like they're trying to draw them offside. Not sure that they'll end up snapping this. No, it looks like Hall might punt it. Yes, he is going to. They did this a lot with Dawson Franke. It's a short punt, though. Ooh, and it hit an Armstrong player, I think. So it will be down right around the 20-yard line. Cooper gets the stop they needed, and boy, they're getting themselves not only back into this game, but very much in a position where they could still win it. We've got still 2:44 to go in the third. They're down by 10, but momentum is definitely with the guys in orange right now.
Yeah, a lot of ball left. I mean, the way the ball's been bouncing around, and you never know what's going to happen in this game, and there's so many game breakers that can make plays happen in a hurry, so should be an exciting next 15 minutes.
Van Voorst and the Cooper offense back out there. Davison going in motion. He swings it out to Young the other direction, and Young bouncing to the outside and knocked out of bounds after about a 13-yard pickup. And so Cooper getting a quick first down. There were not a lot of bodies out there for Armstrong. I was kind of surprised when he caught it that he had as much room to go right initially.
Certainly is a shifty athlete.
So first down at the 35. Handoff goes to Davison, and he will fall forward for about 4. Kind of interesting that Cooper is more methodical in terms of snap count and stuff. They're not going as fast, but the results are still there. I think that kind of shows that there's no panic coming from the coaching staff either. They realize, okay, mathematically, we've still got time. Doesn't mean you don't want to have some urgency, but you don't want to get ahead of yourselves and be something different than you are as an offense. Davison, another big hole to run through, and he will cross midfield. Pick it up 11 more.
Well, I think they've got a couple of big bodies that are playing on the offense and defensive line too, and I think just huddling up and just giving your guys a chance to kind of catch their breath and come out and get off the ball again it's pretty important. And I think it's just different offenses have different, strategies when it comes to pace.
First down, they'll spot it actually right at midfield here. Cooper trying to put together another drive here. Handoff goes to Davison. Into the secondary he goes again, and he should have another first down, marking it right at about the 40-yard line.
And like I was saying too is that, part of how you play on offense, it's feeling some momentum. Now you see them going no huddle here. A lot of times you'll see teams not go no huddle until they get at least one first down. They want to give their defense a little bit of a break. There's all kinds of strategy behind the pace.
Van Voorst swinging it out to Young, and Pilon got off the block and makes the tackle after only about a 1-yard gain.
Pilon just makes a great play there. The wide receiver who was on the blocking wants him to go to the outside, but nevertheless, it's just a fantastic play to get off that block and make that tackle after just a yard gain.
It was kind of a combination of a great read, but then also being athletic enough to actually do it. Second down and 9 coming for Cooper. Under a half minute to go. This might be the last play of the third quarter, depending on how the play develops. Back to Davison on the ground, and he is got down. Pilon making another stop there for the Falcons. Got about 3 or 4, and that should do it for the third quarter. But Cooper's really making it interesting here as they come up with the touchdown to pull within 10, and now driving again. It's 24-14 Armstrong after 3. Fourth quarter's up next.
CCX Media is the first place you go for local news and sports. But did you know you can sign up for those stories to go straight to your inbox on our website? Simply go to ccxmedia.org. Click on the subscribe button, and from there choose which notifications you want to receive. Then we'll send your favorite CCX Media news, sports, and city events straight to your inbox. Sign up now at ccxmedia.org.
Visitors from Armstrong have a 10-point lead here as we begin the fourth quarter, but Cooper certainly has some momentum. Armstrong, when they scored to put it to 24-7, you're thinking, this one might be, if not over, at least getting there. But then Cooper answering with a nice touchdown of their own. And the key thing, too, is they only took, a little bit less than 3 minutes to come back and score. And now they've got an opportunity. They're in Armstrong territory, 3rd and 6. At the 36-yard line of the Falcons. And Borst handing it off to Davison. Nice open field stop there by Wiley. I thought that one was going to pop for a little bit more. Wiley getting the job done defensively. And now it'll be 4th down. 4th and 4 here for Cooper. Big play for both sides. Van Borst looking to throw, firing for Young, and incomplete. Through his fingertips there. And Cooper will turn it over on downs. Boy, it felt like a good play call, and the execution, it seemed like the throw was decent enough, but Young, I don't know if he didn't quite get his head turned or just plain didn't catch it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those plays where the ball's got a little bit of zip on it. Now, I think when you are going across the middle and you have to put your hands above your head to grab the ball, you're a little, even though the footsteps weren't there, it doesn't mean that they're not in the back of your head, but it's not like it was a drop, but it's certainly a catch you wish you had.
So Armstrong ball at the 34. Here's Francis. And he is wrapped up and driven down by Ferguson. And, the ball security has probably been mentioned a little bit as the fumbles have been such a key part of this game. Francis, including him, had a bad one. And Davison and Nix have also had balls that were coughed up. Low snap, Hall able to grab it, and he's in some trouble. Hall is going to be dropped. Anderson making another nice play for Cooper right there. And it'll be a loss of about 9. Hall probably should have tried to just get rid of this ball once he was able to recover it, but it's a little bit easier said than done. I think he thought he was going to be able to outrun him to the corner, and it just wasn't happening. But, that hurts if you're Armstrong. 3rd and 19. Hall, they want a middle screen. Connection is made to Wadkey, and nice open field tackle on him by Larkins. Thought that one had some promise to it. They do get about 8 or 9, but that's not nearly enough. And it'll bring up a punting situation. Young going back deep here for Cooper. So Hawks getting a big stop. Daly will be on to punt.
It's a big stop by the Hawks, though. I mean, they keep on giving themselves a chance. That was a big response for the defense.
Daly angling it toward the sideline, takes a big bounce. Young tried to field it and ends up just knocking it out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. So Cooper, a lot of time to go. They're down 10. They've got 75 yards to go, but nothing that we've seen would indicate that that's not doable to at least, get one score. I mean, they've been moving the ball.
Yep, it's just kind of sustaining it. I mean, they always, it seems like in order for their offense to work, they have to have a number of big plays and kind of bite off some big chunks, but that's the kind of offense that they run. I wonder how much the confidence of throwing that one into the end zone and coming away with 6 on it is going to give this offense kind of more confidence and open up the playbook a little bit and maybe get Armstrong to stop blitzing so much and being so aggressive.
Handing it off to Young here, and a burst out over the 35 before he's brought down, so a little different wrinkle there. Cooper player is injured back behind the play.
Well, you see a good cut block here in the middle of the field. You're going to see a Falcon player go down right there. And then open up a big old hole, and then, Armstrong that time came with a 3-man front with more of almost a nickel package, a lot of secondary, and it almost allowed the Hawks to get to that second level a lot quicker.
Paris Jackson, the injured Hawk right there.
Yeah, we've seen, 2 Hawk players look like they're probably out for the game injury-wise, and 1 get ejected, so they are losing some players here, which could be an impact down the stretch of this game as well.
Jackson, one of the returning linemen that they were really counting on, and able to make his way off.
Yeah, he looks like he might be okay a little bit, though.
A collision with the defender that kind of buckled his lower leg, it looked like there, but let's hope he'll be all right. It's a nice run, a little jet sweep, kind of first time we've seen that tonight from Cooper. Again, getting the ball in Young's hands in a different way than some of the short passes we've seen. Could see his burst right there. They swing it out again, and nowhere to go. Ball's loose and recovered by Armstrong. Daly coming up with it. Well, turnovers have continued to be an issue here, and it's Young giving it up. And Young might be shaken up, it looks like, too.
I don't think he's reading that block correctly. I think that plays to the outside there, and he tries to cut that one inside. I think if he gets to the outside, I think there's a lot of running room. Let's see here. Yeah, the play was the outside, and the ball just kind of got stripped out of there. Nice play defensively. It looked like it was, I got Hawkard on that one. Kind of his right hand came through as he went to go make the tackle and got his hand on the ball.
So big turnover there. Armstrong gets it at the Cooper 34. Hall throwing deep for DeLine and incomplete. Pretty good coverage out there by Callan. A little bit of contact, but he just kind of held his ground and kept the receiver from running to it. And I thought I liked the no call.
It looked like just great coverage.
Yeah. DeLine tried to, work his way to the middle and maybe sell it a little bit as a PI, but I think it was a good on-call. So 2nd and 10, Armstrong not content to try and burn some clock. They went for the home run there to DeLine. I think they thought they would fool Cooper with that. Here's Hall running it. Stayed on his feet and will pick up about 4. Hall and Van Voorst both have had some quality runs, taken a little punishment along the way too, but third down and 6 coming for Armstrong. They'd love to keep the ball here for a little bit too, burn some clock. I mean, scoring would be wonderful, but also getting another first down at least. Here's Hall keeping it, and Hall looks like he should have the first down. Boy, the play's still continuing. These are the kind of where we've seen some fumbles earlier. And looks like Hall will have enough. I thought he got a little bit greedy and tried to cut when he needed to, make sure he had secured the first down, but he knew better than I did, I guess, because he did still make it.
Yeah, and this just seems to just kind of slowly going Armstrong's way here down the stretch. You're just seeing kind of these first down runs. They have a little bit more gas in the tank. Cooper keeps on having players injured at the end of each play. I mean, it's just, you got one team just kind of running out of gas here, and another team's got victory in their eyesight.
Ferguson, apparently, it would appear to be in a cramp. The trainer probably telling you, don't be a hero. Wait for me to get out there and make sure you're all right. But he hobbled off. So Armstrong football at the 22-yard line. A little over 7 minutes to go in the game. Falcons leading by 10. And Nix is wrapped up and spun down. Abel Nason making the stop there for Cooper. A little counter action for Armstrong. Did something a little bit different than we'd seen from them. A little different wrinkle, but that one didn't work so well.
I feel like Armstrong, I mean, this is just what I sense, is that they kind of want to get some more points on the board here too. So they're not trying to play on the clock. I think Armstrong's trying to make a statement here on this drive.
Nix taking the handoff here and breaks into the secondary. Down he'll go at about the 5-yard line. So the previous play didn't do much. That one certainly did. He'll rip off 20. And now first down, goal to go for Armstrong. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the lead isn't big enough that you're looking to just milk clock. You're looking to score and go ahead. And if you can do both, that'd be even better. Or not go ahead, but stretch the lead further. Oh my, Nason just pounding Nix. You can see Cooper kind of selling out, knowing what was coming there, and Nason got there in a hurry. Oof. Those are the kind where you might wish Hall had kept it and not handed it to you to be served up to a talented defender like that.
The blocking combination there up front from the Falcons just not picking up on the blitz.
Second and goal from the 9. Hall keeping it. Hall getting out to the edge, trying to find the pylon. He is knocked out of bounds just short of the end zone. Allen able to force him out. They kind of went for that fake, and that allowed Hall some room and just didn't quite get to the end zone, but he was close.
Yeah, Hall, it looked like the Hawks bit pretty hardcore up the middle right there, but they were also bringing the house up the middle, so it just was the right call. I gotta tell you, though, I mean, they might punch this one in still, but that's a good touchdown save and tackle right there, too. That's a tougher tackle than it looked there on the outside there by Kellen.
Unfortunately for him, he lost his helmet on the play, so he has to come out for this play. Third and goal from the 1 for Armstrong. They tried to fool him by sprinting up to the line, and now they will end up using a timeout. I don't know. If I'm Armstrong here, I don't overthink this. I would run it and see if you can't just punch it in, and then if you don't, you see if you can punch it in again on 4th down, because even worst case scenario, you give them the ball with 99 yards to go.
Yeah, I think the 3 score is the big difference. You know, kicking a field goal and only being up by 2 touchdowns or 13 points is not where you want to be. You want to be up by 3 scores at the end of this drive if you're the Falcons. Yeah, enough things have just not gone right for Cooper to feel a little bit frustrated right now if you're the Hawks. Just the chances, they're going to think about all the fumbles. They're going to think about a couple injuries, a couple players being out here. You know, just not having maybe enough depth to kind of fight to the 4th quarter against a rival. You just look at the way the Armstrong's kind of running out to the ball, where Cooper seems to be kind of just dragging just a little bit more. Just the different tone here as this game kind of comes down the stretch.
Again, they'll do that quick dash up to the line.
Look at that unbalanced line right.
Hall will walk into the end zone for the touchdown.
That's a pretty creative formation right there with the ball, the center being almost the furthest left offensive lineman and everyone else lined up on the right. That was a cool play call, and they do it hustling out of a timeout so the defense can't react. I mean, had the game been a little bit closer, I wonder if Cooper doesn't just quickly take a timeout right there because it's something they haven't seen and wasn't ready for.
I'll tell you, that involves practicing that too. You can't just trust that your guys are going to be lined up right and not screw anything up.
Well, just getting the formation penalty is your biggest risk, on that one.
Miller on for the extra point. His kick is up and good. So with 5:11 to play here in the contest now, 31-14 Armstrong.
Take a look at it. They have 2 tackles and 2 guards on the right side with a tight end over there on the outside, and they had 1 wide receiver to the left. You have to have 1 person on the line of scrimmage at least on the other side of the ball, and they had a receiver far out to the left on that one. So Gabe Hall having a fun night tonight at quarterback for Falcons, has 1 through the air, a couple on the ground. It's a pretty nice fantasy night.
Cooper will get the ball back here, a little over 5 minutes to go. Miller has generally been putting the ball on the ground kind of between levels to, keep Young and Larkins from coming up with a head of steam, really a chance to burst one all the way, although they have had a couple of pretty decent returns. Again, sometimes it's a little hard to control how that ball bounces. Sometimes it works in your favor, sometimes it comes right up for a nice hop for the return man. Gonna drive this one, and that one will skid into the end zone. That's an excellent kick by Miller. So Cooper will get it back with, as I said, a little over 5 to go. The downside for them, though, they're down 17. I think you made a good point, Joe, about I think it's fair to say Armstrong has more depth, and that has kind of been showing up a little bit, especially when you get some guys nicked up like Cooper has too.
Yeah. Yeah, and it certainly matters, in these type of games. Football is a game of energy, and all that depth you can bring in some more talent and some different players to make plays, but.
Van Voorst firing, and it's complete. Good quick move and fighting out to the 35-yard line. It'll be a first down for Young. 15-yard pickup. Young now with 6 catches after a slow start to the evening where they held him in check pretty well. But a good drive starter there for the Hawks. And Boris looking to throw now, stepping up, and he's going to be brought down. Nice stop there for the Falcons by Robinson.
Yeah, see, on that play right there, I mean, he's got 2 receivers 35, 40 yards down the field, and if we're just being honest, you're not going to have that much time to set your feet and throw 40 yards down the field. So I just think that's a little bit of a flawed operation to begin with. Good pressure from the Falcons to get that sack.
Almost got back to the line, but a loss of 1, so it is indeed a sack. Now Van Voorst throwing, complete. But Brown is quickly gobbled up by the D there at about the 38 or 39. He got 4 or 5. And Cooper's going to use a timeout. So 3:47 to go here, and a third down and about 5 coming up for Cooper, but they trail at 31-14. Again, Cooper has Sartell in week 8 on Wednesday, and Armstrong will be taking on a pretty good Alexandria team. As I talked about earlier, the playoff section has changed quite a bit for both of these teams. They're now they moved from Section 5 to Section 6. They're both still together, But now you've got Buffalo and Spring Lake Park in there where, if we're being honest, the last few years they haven't had a lot of tough challenges beyond, these two. Van Borst had time initially, now a flag down. I think Pilon was held. Ooh, and then a hit coming by Kemple. That's going to be a flag against Armstrong. So we had a hold initially, I think, but then a late hit on Kemple. So we've got the hold, and then we're going to have a dead ball personal foul. So they move the hold back and then count off 15 against Armstrong.
So you're going to see the hold right here. It's going to be right near the quarterback. It's the tackle, and it's one of those tough ones because I tell you what, man, that's a tough one to get called like late in the game because he wasn't like holding the whole play. It's that one where he's, okay, now the quarterback went this way, and your left hand gets caught. I thought he did such a good job of letting go quickly. I let that go if I'm the official, but offsetting penalties there results in a first down, but the ball kind of stays in the same spot.
And Boris swinging it out to Davison, and on the sideline he goes. He will pick up the first down, it looks like. Yeah, just inside the 45. Oh, we've got a roughing the passer call against Armstrong. So they are committing a couple of major penalties of late here. So down inside the 30 to the 29. 3.5 to go, and Cooper trying to at least make it interesting again here. They're down 17, but putting together a drive with penalties being a part of it, a big part, in fact. I have to admit, I turned to look where the ball was going and didn't see that hit on Van Boris.
Yeah, neither did I.
Ooh, he wasn't ready for that snap. He did a good job hanging on to it. Now will throw and gets the completion. Wow, defender just completely overrunning Brown there. Brown a little shaken up, but it turns into a big play for Cooper down to the 10.
Van Boris showing his adaptability right there, getting a snap that he was not expecting as he was still surveying the field. Thankfully, it was one that was right in the breadbasket, and then does a good job rolling to his right and finding his target. 1st and 10 at about the 11. Davison takes the handoff, grabbed by the jersey. He'll pick up 2 or 3. Now here's where, if you're Armstrong, at least making them take a few plays to take some time out of the clock would be big for them. Even, I mean, you don't want to give up a score, but if you do, you'd rather it came with, under 2 minutes to go than instantly. Cooper probably taking a little more time than they ought to be here. I mean, again, you don't want to rush, but 2nd and 7. They can get a first down without a touchdown. It's not a goal-to-go situation. Here's Van Borst, and he will be in for the touchdown. They had them flowing toward the pitchman, and Van Borst keeping that one and goes in. Yeah, he really got Pilon here to bite hard on the pitch as he's running that option left side, sold it, and then got upfield in a hurry. And credit the offensive line, who I said has looked a little bit tired down the stretch here, but man, did they have a great drive right there, just enough to get them into the end zone one more time here tonight and close the gap.
Cooper will go for 2, which still would only pull them within 9. I don't know if there's a mathematical chart that would tell you that's the play
because
to
then
make
then Armstrong gets 7, then it's 16. So it is the right. It's the timing doesn't work, but the math is right.
Young not quite able to make a diving catch on that one, so the pass will be incomplete. Another look at Van Voorst cutting this one up, and just a late try to get him at the goal line does not work. But the 2-point conversion try, no good, so we stay at 31-20.
Yeah, the philosophy on that one is even though the timing doesn't seem like it would make sense, but if Armstrong were to get 7, that gets it to 16, and now you're still down by 2 scores. So you just kind of maintain that 2-score status if you would have converted. But nonetheless, here it's going to be now it's a 2-score situation here. You definitely are onside kicking and trying to make something happen to keep this game alive if you're the Hawks.
Cooper does only have 1 timeout remaining here, so if Armstrong does recover, it's going to be difficult to get the ball back.
Cooper does not have enough players in the field yet. Let's see if they get an 11th guy out there. There you go.
Van Voorst is the kicker.
Oh, come on, guys. You get one more guy out there.
I suspect this probably relates to those injuries that somebody who was on the kickoff team maybe isn't available right now. And first going out, and then Mari Lee then sent back out there. Well, fair to say an onside kick forthcoming here. We'll see who can get it. Ooh, and it's a good one.
He got it.
And let's see, looks like Cooper's going to get it. Yes, indeed, the Hawks got it. Van Voorst delivering a nice bouncing kick.
Armstrong did not look aggressive enough to get after that football. It just kind of looked like there was a lot of eyeballs on it.
Yeah, it almost seemed like a couple of guys thought their assignment maybe was to block, and they didn't really go for the ball. You see him run past.
I mean, just Reed's got to make a play on the ball there.
And it's Davison who jumps on it for Cooper. So they definitely have life here. 2:23 to go. They're down 31-20. Keeping this one interesting down the stretch. Van Voorst dropping to throw, fires, juggled and dropped. That was a case of Brown, I think, wanting to make sure he was going to get out of bounds or turn and do something with that one, and just didn't look it all the way in. Yeah, he was turning to see where he was going to cut. It happens. You hate when it does if it's you, but occasionally it does happen. Second down and 10. Armstrong playing coverage more than really sending people after Van Voorst here. Now they do come. Here's his throw deep down the middle for Young, and it is broken up as Zaire Shannon Terrell getting up to deflect that one away.
Yeah, Armstrong's, bringing 3 defensive linemen, and they bring 1 linebacker, but that means you got 7 back in coverage there, and you got about 3 guys going out for routes, so you can just do the math right there and know that it's pretty difficult to get open.
Van Voorst did a pretty good job of standing in there with some pressure coming. And falls incomplete, though, as a strong defensive play. 3rd down and 10 now for Cooper. Armstrong showing pressure a little more here on 3rd down. Well protected, but the throw is going to be too high up and out of play. Looking for Young there. Kemple there defensively. 4th down and 10 coming.
Yeah, the one thing I was going to say, it's easy for me to sit up here and second guess, but just to come out and start flowing the ball around, that's not who their identity was throughout this game. I thought maybe just some hurry up, couple runs here and there, then maybe a pass, mix it in. Might have been a more effective approach, but easy for me to say.
Cooper going to use a timeout here. I mean, you'd like to have it for stopping the clock.
A run play, yeah. That's,
But I guess they felt like it. I mean, if they don't convert here, then they're going to give the ball over anyway. So got to make sure they're all ready and on the same page.
Yeah, just my thinking was, you're out here, ball at midfield. You got some serious attacking opportunities running the football throughout this game, and you've been able to bite off some big chunks. It would have been interesting maybe just to put the ball on the ground a couple times and make Armstrong tackle. One thing that happened late in this half where Armstrong's getting away with a little bit is their tackling wasn't very good at different times. Just challenging them in that regard.
So big 4th down play coming up. Cooper trying to keep its chances alive. Van Voorst under some pressure, rolling to his left, now turns and throws deep downfield, and the catch is made. Quickly tackled was Larkins, but he did a good job hanging on to that one, and Van Voorst, heck of a throw, rolling to his left.
Yeah, really good throw, throwing to his left, and it's one of those throws too where his receiver was kind of like sitting down in a pocket. So it wasn't like he could float it. He kind of had to gun it in there because there was a safety over the top.
Yeah, and it was 4th and 10. At that point, you just let it go and hope for the best, and they got it. Van Voorst stepping up. Now he's going to take off and run, and he will get to the sideline inside the 15. Still a minute 25 to go. This one is not over. Did a good job stepping up as the rush came to the outside, and then he kept them thinking he might throw until he went beyond the line, and that froze a couple of D-backs.
Yeah, his confidence is growing more and more as this game's gone on. He's looking good here in this 4th quarter.
So 1st down from the 13. And Voorst throwing deep over the middle for Thompson. Did he get his feet in? No. Boy, it was close. He caught the ball, but apparently not quite in bounds. See if we can tell here.
Oh!
Boy, that's close.
I mean, let's go. Come on, ref. It's more fun to put 2 hands up in the air than it is to say out of bounds in that situation. You got to be. I mean, he's got to really believe he saw something to make that call.
Awful close.
Oh man!
Keep in mind the white is out, not that back blue.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to you, really, Joe, but just in general.
Right. No, for the fans. Yeah, I get it. But it just seemed like it was really, really close. Like I don't know, and he was just acting so confident in his call.
Roll out here. Van Voorst going to tuck it and run, and he will go out of bounds at a little bit farther back than I thought. It looks like they're marking it at the 8. Thought he was closer to the 5 there, but must have had one step short of what I thought before he went out. Smart play, though, time-wise. The extra couple yards don't matter as much as stopping the clock.
All right, let's see it. Man.
Very, very, very close. I could have seen that one going either way.
Yeah.
Now Armstrong.
I mean, you're telling me that he saw the shoelace hit the outside of the white little paint? I mean, come on, man. Well, let's see if the ball don't lie here. I mean, it's much more fun for Cooper to plunge one in here and see what they can make another onside kick happen. Let's make some memories. But, Armstrong, you got to finish off strong. This is, you've started off the season, like you said, 3-0, and you're on a little bit of a plunge. I mean, winning is an art. You got to learn to win, and Armstrong's got to try to close the deal as well.
Yeah, it's one of those games where there's a lot of what-ifs to it, too, and, I mean, both teams have some to be really feeling good about and some to not be feeling good about.
There's a lot of different plays throughout this game that you're like, okay, what about this play, Yeah, just the number of fumbles. A couple of drops, a couple of...
Yeah, and I think you're right, too, about not necessarily the greatest tackling at all times, although on the flip side, both have been able to force some fumbles at key opportunities, too. Third down, Van Voorst looking to throw first. Now he'll take off and run, and he's going to be brought down. Ooh, lifted off his feet by Kemple there. Pretty good strength, and it's going to be 4th down.
Oh, I didn't get that first?
Looked like it. Under a minute to go, and the clock, of course, continuing to run.
And you just got to sneak it right here and get the first down.
Boy, Cooper is not in any hurry. They need to be. 4th and 1. Davison looks like he'll get it. However, time's going to be a factor as it stops just briefly for the first down, and then they'll wind the clock again. Wonder if they'll think about spiking the ball here.
The clock stops the first down.
Back they go to Davison. Let's see, did he get there? Yes, he is over the goal line for a touchdown. Ball came out after the fact, but it's already been a touchdown awarded to Cooper, and they're within 5.
All right, big 2-point conversion. I mean, in reality, they're probably not going to kick a field goal, so just based on what we've seen so far, they like to, but still bring this one to within 3.
Missed on the 2-point try last time around. Van Voorst rolling left with it. Now he's going to flip it up for grabs, and he's got the completion. Wow, Thompson receiving that one. Linebacker thought he was in pretty good position, but he just floated it over him.
Look at let's just see how this. This is the touchdown. Look at that second effort there. Of course, the ball's in. There was no fumble. Look at this play. I'm surprised the defender doesn't make a play on this ball here. What happens?
just over Kemple.
Yeah, he's like, well, what happened to my hands there? Wow.
A great job taking a little off that one, I feel like, for Van Voorst, too, to float it over him.
Through the changeup.
Yep. So we had a successful onside kick for Cooper the previous try, and that's their only hope right here, and we'll see if they can do it again. And I tell you what, it's some pressure on the receiving team here. You feel like you're out on an island when the ball's coming at you.
Yeah, and I don't think they've been handling the pressure all too well right now. I mean, Armstrong has had a number of times that they could just shut this thing down and call a ball game, but they just haven't been able to close the deal. This is exciting stuff. For Cooper, stay on sides, let the ball go 10 yards.
Yeah, there's a lot to keep an eye on here. A good point about the 10 yards. Gotta make sure you don't touch it too early.
Armstrong at least looks more prepared this time. Got a few more guys in the mix.
Ooh, he is going to kick it past the first wave, and that's going to be recovered by Wadkey. I was wondering if there was a possibility they'd try that, but it's more of a gamble because you've got a long way to run to get to it. And you almost have to kind of pop that ball up a little bit more if that's going to work.
Yeah.
And so Armstrong will get it at the 35, and they should just have one kneel down and be able to celebrate a maybe closer than they'd hoped win, as it turns out, but still a win.
Yeah, boy, I wonder if Van Voorst thought he saw something there or had that strategy all along. He's kind of beating himself up on the sideline right now over that decision. But, man, there was a lot more to the game than that. That was – what a fight, though. I mean, I mean, Van Voorst is bumming out right now about that kick, but, boy, what a ball game he did fighting back in there. I mean, I come away from this game, I really got to tip my cap to Cooper and how they fought and never gave up. I mean, throughout the ball game on different plays too, when they forced 2 fumbles after not giving up on plays. But the way they finished this game, pretty admirable. And then for Armstrong, good ball game. I mean, they looked good in a lot of facets of this game and just did enough to end up being the winners.
And we could perhaps see them meet again in the postseason. We'll have to watch for that as they get ready for Section 6 5A play. And again, Cooper finishing the regular season against Sartell on Wednesday, and it is Armstrong will be taking on Alexandria. We hope you've enjoyed this one. Lots of twists and turns. It was an entertaining game. A lot of good plays, a few not so good, but an exciting win overall as Armstrong hangs on to beat Cooper 31-28, the 7th straight time they defeated the Hawks. Thanks so much for watching high school football on CCX. For Joe Moline and all of our crew, I'm Jay Wilcox. Good night from New Hope.